All right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the April 5th, 2021 meeting of the Greenville City Council to order. I'm Mayor P.J. Connolly, and I'll be moderating tonight's meeting. First, I'd like to call on the city clerk for the roll call.
Okay. Mayor Connolly.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Glover. And we'll come back. Oh, Mayor Pro Tem Glover.
Here.
Okay. Councilmember Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember Bell.
Here.
Councilmember Smiley.
Here.
Councilmember Litchfield.
Councilmember Litchfield here.
Councilmember Meyerhofer.
I'm here.
Okay. Mayor Connolly, you have a quorum.
All right, thank you very much. We'll now move on to the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Smiley.
We'll have a moment of silence. Thank you.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now we'll move on to the approval of tonight's agenda. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I believe the city attorney has one modification to the agenda. Mr. McGirt.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Mayor and council members, I am recommending that item 7, contract award to SEPI Incorporated for construction, engineering, and inspection services associated with Metronet fiber installation project be pulled for the purpose of modifying the motion.
All right.
Mayor, I have one additional item. I would like to add a presentation on the overview of the budget and the funding for the build grant. I'd like to make that item number 16, Mayor.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the agenda with the suggested revisions of moving item 7 off the consent agenda into new business and adding the manager's item number 16 as new business.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Motion's been made by Councilmember Smiley, second by Councilmember Daniels. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. I'll call on the city clerk for the vote.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Glover.
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels.
Aye.
Councilmember Bell.
This is Councilmember Bell. Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Smiley.
Aye.
Councilmember Litchfield.
Councilmember Litchfield, aye.
Councilmember Meyerhofer.
Councilmember Meyerhofer, aye.
Motion passes, Mayor, 6-0.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the public comment period. The public comment period is a period reserved for comments by the public. Items that were or scheduled to be the subject of a public hearing conducted at this meeting or another meeting during the same week shall not be discussed. A total of 30 minutes is allocated, with each individual being allowed no more than 3 minutes. Individuals who register with the city clerk to speak will speak in the order registered until the allotted 30 minutes expires. If time remains after all persons who have registered have spoken, individuals who did not register will have an opportunity to speak until the allotted 30 minutes expire. Madam Clerk, our first speaker.
Mayor Connolly, we have one registered speaker tonight, Mr. Jamel Blunt. And Mr. Blunt, if you'll give me a moment just to set the timer. Okay. Mr. Blunt, you have 30 minutes to address the mayor and city council.
Hey, how you doing, Mr. Mayor and city council? My name is Jamel Blunt. I'm a lifetime resident here in Greenville, North Carolina, and also an event planner that's very involved in the nightlife in Greenville, North Carolina. And I was wanted to just speak on the 500-foot rule. Is that I think that we're it's causing a part of the community, a very vital part, to be underserved. When I look at the situation where a majority of our nightclubs and bars they're downtown, and a lot of your constituents and the people in the community, and for the most part, a lot of the African American community does not have anywhere that they can go and unwind, maybe have a good time. And that's not because of that's solely because of the lack of venues and lack of places to go. The 500-foot rule, in my opinion, creates a monopoly that keeps people that's been having nightclubs and bars, that keeps them intact, and it locks anybody else in from wanting to come and maybe open up a bar, open up a nightclub. And monopoly is the direct negative influence of the America's economy. America is a free enterprise place. But when we come to Greenville, North Carolina, we don't have the ability to say, hey, I want to start a bar, I want to open up a nightclub, and then we have a portion of our community that's underserved. And what you're going to see is that, with that being said, here recently there was a situation where one of the only clubs in Greenville, North Carolina that promoted to the African American community no longer exists. And you're going to have a situation around our city and in our area where there's going to be a lot of young adults that's going to start having like unsanctioned parties, just renting buildings, throwing block parties that has no rules, they have no structure, and it's going to lead to just total chaos within our city, especially with people being locked in the house through quarantine over the past couple of years. So in my opinion, I would love to be able to see the 500-foot rule adjusted. It doesn't have to just be completely done away with, because I understand the need for it, but at the same time, it limits free enterprise in our city, and it limits the idea of a lot of the African American community are just not happily welcome to some of the previous establishments. They have rules that are set that specifically target a certain audience, from dress codes to certain things that we do amongst our culture, and it's not fair. If you would look at the numbers, even with alumni and ECU and a lot of younger adults, a lot of younger Black African Americans, a lot of them leave. They either leave and go to enjoy themselves in other cities, or they even pick up and move because they can come here and work all day, but they have nowhere to go and listen to some jazz music, maybe have a drink, maybe enjoy themselves at a bar, because a lot of the places that are open, that do have the permits, that do have the liquor license, we're just not welcome there. And I mean, I'm being completely honest about it. I'm not trying to make it a race issue. I'm just trying to make it an equal issue where everybody has the right to enjoy themselves within our community. And we're losing a lot of good people because of the lack of entertainment, and the entertainment that we do have is catered toward one particular audience. In my opinion, I may be wrong, but this is just what I've been dealing with. I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and I've just watched our city go from, I think I counted the other day, we have about 17 establishments that have liquor license between bars and nightclubs, and none of them are welcoming to people of color. I think, if I'm not mistaken, as of right now, there's not an African American person in Greenville, North Carolina, that has a ABC permit or a special use permit to be able to own and operate a bar or a nightclub. And I think that is definitely a black eye on our community. When I look at a lot of other cities that we pattern ourselves after, Raleigh, Charlotte, Durham, Greensboro, some of those bigger cities, and even some other cities in eastern North Carolina. Jacksonville has urban nightclubs, if that's what you want to call them. New Bern, Rocky Mount, but Greenville is the hub of the eastern North Carolina, and the African American community here has nowhere to go. So with that being said, I would love to be able to see the 500-foot rule adjusted to be able to allow some people to come in and maybe start some new businesses and give people a chance to enjoy themselves, as long as that is done the right way and is followed by rules. And there's some great people that's trying to do some great business and be positive and make a positive impact in the community, and give people not only a chance to be able to work and provide for their families here, but give them a place to unwind also.
Thanks.
And that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. I'll let you go a little bit longer because you're the only one speaking tonight. But we had a very good conversation during our workshop today, and I think there was a consensus from the council members that did speak that we do want to make some modifications. We do want the staff to come back with different recommendations from the company that they're working with right now, and hopefully we'll be able to make some changes in the near future. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Blunt. We appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, there are no additional registered speakers, and I am looking in the public input inbox right now, and I do not see any messages for public comment.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda includes the following items: minutes from the March 8th, 2021 City Council workshop, the March 8th, 2021 and March 11th, 2021 City Council meetings, public art recommendation for the Dave Mirra Memorial Sculpture, a public art recommendation for the Emerald Loop intersection pavement art, a resolution granting an electrical easement for the use of Greenville Utilities Commission at Wildwood Park, a resolution relating to the issuance of $38.5 million for Greenville Utilities Commission Combined Enterprise System Revenue and Revenue Refunding Bonds, Series 2021A, an order authorizing $7,979,298 of installment refinancing agreement and related resolution for the refunding of the City of Greenville Series 2011 General Obligation Bonds, 2015 Special Obligation Revenue Bonds, and 2019 Taxable Installment Sale. Contract award, that item has been pulled. A contract award with IMAC Group LLC for the construction of improvements to the Epps Recreation Center. Item number 9 is a contract with Cherry Beckard LLP for auditing services for fiscal year 2021, 2020 and 2021. Item 10 is a contract award to AAR of North Carolina, Inc. for the replacement of the EPDM roofs at the Greenville Convention Center. Item number 11 is the approval of the agenda of the agreement with Tyler Technologies for support services and updates for Munis. And item 12 are various tax refunds greater than $100. Mayor, that is the consent agenda.
All right. Thank you very much.
Move to approve with the exception of item 7, though I think she moved that off.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Motion's been made by Councilmember Smiley, second by Councilmember Daniels. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. I'll call on the city clerk for the votes.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Glover?
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Bell?
This is Councilmember Bell. Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Smiley?
Aye.
Councilmember Litchfield?
Councilmember Litchfield, aye.
Okay. Councilmember Meyerhofer?
Meyerhofer, aye.
Motion passes, Mayor, 6-0.
All right. Thank you very, very much. We'll move on to new business. We'll move on to item number 7. Madam Manager.
Thank you. Item number 7 is a contract award to CEPI Inc. for construction, engineering, and inspection services associated with the MetroNet fiber installation project. I will turn that over to the city attorney for a few changes he would like to make.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Mayor and Council, the city attorney recommends that the motion authorizing approval of item 7 be modified to provide and to say that in addition, the city attorney and the city manager are authorized to make any technical and non-monetary revisions to the contract that protect the city's interest, including revisions described in the city attorney's memo email sent to council on today. I described those revisions. Staff agrees with the revisions, and I talked with a representative of CEPI, and CEPI, who's doing the engineering work in conjunction with the MetroNet project, does not oppose the revisions.
All right. Any questions for Attorney McGirt?
Come, everybody else says that people like what they do, and the attorney just says nobody's opposed to it. I move we approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I was about to say, if that dies. Motion's been made by Councilmember Smiley, second by Councilmember Daniels. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Call on the city clerk for the vote.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Glover?
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Bell?
Aye.
Okay. Councilmember Smiley?
Aye.
Councilmember Litchfield?
Councilmember Litchfield, aye.
Okay. Councilmember Meyerhofer?
Aye.
Motion passes, Mayor, 6-0.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 13. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 13 is a presentation by the Pitt Greenville Airport Authority, and I'll call on Airport Manager Bill Hopper, who is available to make that presentation. Mr. Hopper?
Thank you. Thank you. Just want to thank everybody for allowing me this opportunity to update you on how the airport's going. It's been quite a while. We've all kind of been in our own corners and taking care of what we all need to take care of. And I'm very even if it is virtual, it's nice to be before you and provide this presentation to you. I'm going to pull up if I can get the share screen. Is everybody able to see that?
No, we cannot.
Okay.
Mr. Hopper, if you'd like, we have it ready. Kamala can go ahead and pull it up for you.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You sure about that, Valerie?
Sorry, she's having, hold on.
That's a map of the airport on the wall behind him. Maybe he could just point at that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the airplane's
I can
landing
just hold
here,
up like that if you want it, so I have it in front of me. So
It's Easter Monday.
yeah, that's true.
Technical difficulties.
Let me see. You want me to try to pull it up again, Valerie, see if folks can get it?
Yeah, if you don't mind. She's got it. It's just not letting her share it right now.
Okay, let me.
Oh, she's got it.
She's got it? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, Kamala.
Beautiful. All right. If everybody can see that now?
Yes, we can.
All right, and I'll just hit say next when we need the next slide up. First of all, once again, I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity to provide a report on how the airport's doing. The one thing I want to make sure everybody's aware of is we do have flights here. Often I'm asked, is American flying again? They have since January 5th. And in fact, we've been incrementally increasing the number of flights per day and are now up to 3 turns per day to Charlotte Airport. So things are looking good, and actually the passenger numbers are actually looking good as well. And so my hopes are that maybe we're starting to see our way to the other end. Before I do get started, I just want to thank. I've got some people to thank, especially Mayor Connolly and Ann Wall. We've had some challenging times over the last year, and I can tell you that Ann and Mayor Connolly have really come through to make sure that we do continue with the best air service possible. And I do appreciate their efforts, as well as Mr. Litchfield, who does serve on our board as well. So thank you all very much. I'm going to start out, first of all, how 2020 started out last year. American was doing well. Numbers were starting to go up a little bit. We had projects on the horizon, some major, kind of some finishing touches to the runway that was done a few years ago, where we're trying to take care of some of the taxi lanes and everything that go to and from the runway. We started designing a new taxi lane that's actually going to provide the access to some new hangars. Which is we've always identified hangars as being a top potential revenue producer here at the airport, and then we also with the help of the local community to include the city of Greenville, we applied for what's called a Small Community Air Service Development Program grant, which is a very competitive grant. It's all small airports in the country. And out of the entire country, we were one of 20 to receive these grants, which were notified about in late February. Just so happens that the same day we were notified of that, we'd already had a trip scheduled to go talk with our number one prospective airline to provide additional air service. And then, if we can go to the next page. And then the world changed. The pandemic it took hold, and we had just like everywhere else, the airport pretty much there was nobody here. Businesses stopped traveling. Vacation hotspots were shut down. If people recall, there were ships left out to sea that couldn't make it in. There were it was just everything just kind of came to a screeching halt. and people started working from home. We had flights with single-digit numbers, and it wasn't just us. This is typical across the country. Everybody was being impacted by this. We even had some flights where they had to come in empty to pick passengers up to take them going the other way, which you never see. And so these are the types of things that were taking place. People that I talk with, Charlotte became a ghost town. And so things were changing. Protocols were put in place that we had to, we could have never imagined, having to wear masks and sanitize just constantly. And it just was things that nobody could ever imagine. And then to top it all off, the goalposts kept getting moved. If you recall, at first we were told, okay, this is, come Easter, things are going to be opening up then into the summer. And we finally just had to get used to the fact that, that this is something that's going to be for the long haul. And in most cases, it's going to be when a vaccine comes out. So we just kind of came to that realization. Activity was very scarce. We were down over 95% operations, and that's pretty much every airport in the country was that way, where the numbers went down considerably. It was very scarce. Revenue was not coming in. It was pretty much, things were getting just a little bit nerve-wracking, to say the least, at that point. And of course, here we are, told to keep these places clean and wear masks and everything, and there's none to be found. And that wasn't just just people in general. Airports were having problems finding these items, and so there was a number. We had to kind of figure out creative ways to get some of these supplies. And then to top it all off, airports were ordered to stay open. We did not have the option of closing, so we stayed open. We have 20 people that work here for the airport, and of those 20, 18 were considered essential and had to be here at all times. Right now, we do have our full staff working in the airport, but for some time, we did have 2 people that did work from home, while the rest of us had to be here and keep the airport open. If we can go to the next page, please. So then we get into the new normal. We had the federal government, provided us a bridge to make it to the other side, so to speak. In late March, we were awarded a CARES Act grant, which we're very thankful for, and it's provided us with some the ability to match our operating budget. And also it was something that was handed out to the airlines as well, that they were offered. And so American was able to get a CARES Act grant, and it also guaranteed that they would have to provide service through October 1 because they were obligated to provide the service to their communities. Then, though, it started looking that that the federal government was trying to negotiate. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in Washington, as everybody recalls, and the CARES Act grant did not get extended in October. And American had informed us that if they did not get those, that funding, that they would be suspending service in October. That we'd be one of 15 airports in the country, and it did happen. So starting last October. We did not have any service in the at Pitt Greenville Airport. We did have some corporate activity, but things were very there wasn't a lot of activity here at the airport. And then what our hopes were that originally American said, well, we'll be back in November if we can get the service, and then November went to December, and finally we did get the announcement in December. That they would be getting these loans, and we were able to get service back up in January, and I'm very happy to report that service is back, and it's going very well. And really since the very start, I mean, they started with one flight, one round trip a day. Their passenger loads I would very much compare to what it was prior to the pandemic. We are up to 3 turns a day right now. And, I would say that we're probably going to be into 4 turns a day come summer. We definitely, we're seeing the passenger activity. The thing that, they're right now, they may be having issues trying to get planes and equipment. I'm sure that some people have seen the news that some airlines are having problems bringing up personnel and equipment at this time, which is in strange ways is kind of a good sign that things are starting to make their way back. And we are continuing to talk with our prospective airline. They have, they don't know really what their plan is. Everything kind of happens, it's kind of going month to month. And right now, the strongest activity is the pent-up demand. Business travelers are not traveling right now. There are people that are starting to get the vaccines, or they're finding that their parents are getting the vaccines, and people are, there's a lot of pent-up demand to go out and visit people that they haven't seen in a while, and of course, a lot of people that have pent-up demand to go out and have the vacation as well. So we're happy to report that things are looking good right now, and so I'm optimistic that that we'll continue with this activity, and we do continue to talk to prospective airline. We're right now trying to set up a meeting with them as well as some other airlines this June. So hopefully we'll be able to get these conversations back up, and hopefully while we have that grant in hand, and which we have been given, the DOT gave us an extra 2 years to bring an airline on board. I don't want to wait that long, but they did do that because of what's been going on. So we have been given an extension on that as well. If we can go to the next page. So I guess when you're handed lemons, you make lemonade, as the saying goes. While we didn't have activity in the terminal, we decided it was time to take care of some maintenance that had been deferred for years. And as you can see in the picture up there, that's a picture of the event from the HVAC system, pre-cleaning and post-cleaning. And you can see how dirty it was. When we talked to the people that did it, they said they don't know if this ductwork has ever been cleaned. So we went in, we cleaned ductwork. We've been really addressing some overdue maintenance that is necessary on the HVAC, trying to bring it back up to really good serviceable condition. If anybody's been in our parking lot, we were told that our pavement had gotten to a point to where it needed to be replaced, and we did replace. We did a mill and fill, so to speak, in our parking lot, where we milled up 2 inches of pavement and replaced it. We've repainted and sealed all the pavements out front. We're getting ready right now to go through the terminal and do a completely paint the inside of the terminal, give it a fresh look. We're not doing any real like what I would call improvements in the terminal, but what we're doing is we're trying to make it look good. The thing that I like to say is that this really is for people that are thinking of doing business in Greenville. This is the introduction to Greenville. In many cases. And so I want to try to make it the best presentation that we can have for people that are visiting here and considering this the place to do business or move. So we are working hard to do that. And we do have quite a bit of airfield maintenance that we took on during the slowdown while we had some time to do some work on the runway and as well as the rest of the airfield. Construction continued on. Right now, we're just in the finishing stages of what we call our General Aviation Apron Project. It was an FAA-funded project, 90%, $3.9 million. We're just about done with that project. One of the finishing touches to that project, which I'm very excited about, is that we're going to put like a little patio outside Dillon's Aviation where if people want to come over and watch airplanes, they can maybe sit at the patio and watch airplane activity. So we're excited to be finishing up on that. And we also have some other items that we're finishing up on. We're just getting started on a corporate taxi lane. This is going to give us a taxi lane access to where we're going to be building hangars that are going to be right on Memorial Drive, some corporate hangars. And we're looking at this as a really nice presentation of the airport on Memorial Drive. The airport's kind of hidden back, and what this is going to do is provide some newer hangars for corporate aircraft, and I think give a nice appealing look to the airport as well. We've got some other projects. We've got a $3.6 million taxiway Alpha North project, which we're right now under design and should be starting that come next fall. And we're looking that now that we're doing the corporate taxi lane, we do have some interest from some prospective tenants. Some of them are existing tenants that would like to expand their fleet, as well as just some local business people that would like to base their airplanes here. And so we're going to be building 3 corporate hangars, and right now we're in the design stage of that, and we'll consider building more if the demand does actually pan out beyond what we're looking at. We did a survey of hangars in the area. It goes west of Raleigh to like Sanford, the airport over there, and then up to the Virginia border down to the South Carolina border. And there's one corporate hangar that's available for rent in that entire area. And we have been getting approached by different entities wanting corporate hangars. So we do feel that there's a demand here. We want to kind of test the water a little bit, and if it's what we think it is, then be ready to build additional hangars as well. If we can go to the next page. So, and next thing I'd like to talk about is the Air Service. As I had touched on earlier, American Airlines is back and they're doing well. We're very happy. One of the things that has the pandemic has caused is that Charlotte's not so congested as it used to be now, and we've been actually having some very reliable service since they've come back. They've been we do have the daily flights up to 3 turns a day through Charlotte, and the load factors are approaching pre-pandemic, and in some cases exceeding the pre-pandemic levels. And the air service expansion discussions are continuing with the second airline. We're very excited. We think that right now we're finally getting to the point where the airline is starting to have a little sense of what they plan to do now that things are starting to open up again. So we're very happy with that. And if I can go to the next slide. And I'd like to talk about the North Carolina Department of Transportation Division of Aviation Environmental Impact Study. They did one. They do this every 2 years, and they did one that encompassed the years 2016 and 2017, and then they just recently finished another one that was for 2018 and 2019. So you have to understand this is a bit pre-pandemic. This isn't, if they would have done this year, the figures would be completely skewed. You wouldn't have accurate figures. However, pre-pandemic, they found that aviation to the state of North Carolina was a $61 billion economic impact, which is 10% of the North Carolina GDP, which is very significant. Aviation, North Carolina is one of the largest, aeronautics businesses in the country is in North Carolina. I can't remember the exact ranking, but it's up there. And a lot of it, you have in Greensboro, and of course American Airlines being a major player in this state. There are 373,000 jobs in the state, $15 billion of personal income, and $2.5 billion in tax revenue to the state. Then they found, and they kind of broke down each airport and what each airport's value was to its community, and found that Pitt Greenville was $321 million economic impact, which is up $40 million from 2 years ago. This is very much in line with the rest of the state. Most of the other airports in the state had this kind of increase over 2 years. And this is really a testament to the growth that's going on in the state of North Carolina. And I feel it's very important that as we, as the city of Greenville and Pitt County are experiencing, the influx of activity, such as the businesses coming in and the news of people relocating here, that we need to make sure that the airport, as well as other things that are important to these to these entities and these people, that they're able to keep up with it, so that we're able to provide the services here rather than have them go on to other areas. But Greenville is a $321 million economic impact with 1,770 jobs, $81 million in personal income, and a $9.5 million tax revenue to the local community. And then if I can go on to the last page, I just kind of want to summarize what I've discussed. And first of all, is that Pitt Greenville is showing positive signs of strong recovery, and we're having a positive outlook. We're not out of the woods yet. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on things. I take a look at the passenger numbers every day. Pre-pandemic, this is something where I kind of like, if I felt something was going a little odd, or things were something that was worth checking on, I would check on those. But typically, it was a monthly exercise. Right now, every day, the first thing I do is I take a look at the passenger numbers. And another item that's very important bullet is that when funding was needed, the federal government provided it. We were able to get, we were able to get $8.2 million, which was committed to our operating, and that is to be used over a 4-year period. And it's definitely it's something that without it, I'm not sure how this airport could have made it through to the other end. I'm just thankful that we got it. We also have other money. It's up to a total of $18 million, where we may be able to either add it to operating or perhaps some capital items as well. But we do have an allocation that has been provided to us. We've taken care of long deferred maintenance that was addressed when the activity was low. I feel like we're starting to catch up with some of this maintenance that have been deferred. And now our plan is we're going to put together a preventive maintenance program that's going to be in our budget every year. And we're going to be very disciplined and make sure that we keep up with this. Air service is recovering, and our prospects with our existing American Airlines, which we're very thankful to have, as well as new services. We remain hopeful. And all the projects that we had in plan in place with the 90% FAA funding and 10% local, we continue with that. We went very aggressively into the projects. We did them as quickly as we could, especially when we had the reduced activity. And there's also some other potential funding that's coming down the pike for capital. I'm sure people have heard about the infrastructure plan and everything. We're keeping a close eye on those as well. And just that, that Pitt Greenville does continue to be a significant economic contributor to the area. And so with that, I want to thank you very much for the time that I'm able to provide you with this information. If we can go to the next page. And now, if there are any questions, I'd be happy to see if I can answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Hopper?
Mayor?
Councilmember Litchfield?
No questions, just a quick comment. Bill, thank you for your leadership. Obviously, the last 12 months have been very, very challenging, and we look forward to increasing the flight schedules and more people using our airport, because it is such a wonderful thing to have in our area. Thank you again for your leadership.
Thank you for your leadership on the board as well. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Mayor, I have one question. Have we had our waiting room for waiting for the flights? Have we had that done over, because it was so bad the last time I flew out?
Oh, you're going to be. We completely reupholstered the hideous yellow furniture, and we had it reupholstered locally, and so the furniture is reupholstered. and hopefully next week we'll be starting painting on the walls in there as well. What we did was we addressed the HVAC issues because we had some humidity issues from the HVAC, so we didn't want to start painting the walls. We've gotten that taken care of, and now we're in the process of addressing the paint. So, and if you'd like, you're welcome to get a hold of me. I'd be happy to take you up there and walk you around there sometime.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? Bill, I'd like to just kind of reiterate what Councilmember Litchfield said. We appreciate everything that you're doing. I know this year has been a absolute challenge for you, but you've done a great job. I know you continue to fight for funding and continue to come up with different ways to make the PGV a viable asset to our community. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next airline that will commit to offering commercial airline service from there. Because I know that's going to be vitally important as we continue with our economic development efforts to be able to attract more businesses and more people to our community. So thanks for all that you do. And if there's anything we can ever do to help you out, please let us know.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
All right. That's it. Thank you very much. Madam Manager, item number 14.
Thank you. Item number 14 is a budget ordinance amendment number 8 to the 2021 City of Greenville budget. The Special Revenue Grant Fund and the Capital Projects Fund, and I'll call on Financial Services Director Byron Hayes for that speedy presentation.
Let me share my screen really quickly. All right, can everybody see that? All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Budget Amendment 8. Budget Ordinance Amendment 8 includes adjustments to the Convention and Visitors Authority Fund, the Facilities Improvement Program Fund, the Fire Rescue Capital Projects Fund, and the Grant Special Revenue Fund. A breakdown of the amendments. We're recognizing revenue received by the CBA for the African American Cultural Trail Project. That's an increase of their budget at $10,000. We are additionally increasing the CVA budget to recognize a Paycheck Protection Program loan of $106,000. We are reallocating funding from the Facilities Improvement Program to Shepherd Memorial Library for HVAC replacements. It's a net neutral change in the Facilities Improvement Program of $140,000. We are recognizing grant revenue received for an environmental enhancement grant in the Grant Special Revenue Fund, increasing that $88,000, and reclassifying funding from the Fire Rescue Capital Project within the Capital Projects Fund for Fire Rescue from Fire Station 7 construction project to the Station 1 Bay Extension project. That is a neutral impact to the fund of $12,000. And as a result of these amendments, the City of Greenville the City of Greenville portion of the operating fund remains at $154.7 million. And staff recommends approval of Budget Ordinance Amendment 8 to the City of Greenville Operating Fund Ordinance, the Capital Project Fund Ordinance, and the Grant Special Revenue Fund Ordinance. Any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Hayes? That was quick and speedy. Anyone want to make a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
So there you go. Motion's been made by Councilmember Meyerhofer, second by Councilmember Daniels. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. Calling the city clerk for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Glover?
Aye.
Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Bell?
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley?
Aye.
Councilmember Litchfield?
Aye. Councilmember Litchfield.
Thank you. Councilmember Meyerhofer?
Aye.
Motion passes, Mayor, 6-0.
Thank you very much. We'll now move on to item number 15, Madam Manager.
Thank you. Item number 15 is the fiscal year 2021 third quarter general fund financial update. I'll call on Assistant City Manager CFO Michael Cowan for that presentation. Michael, you're on mute.
He already finished half his presentation.
Okay,
Okay.
now we can't see your screen.
No.
You only get one or the other,
Okay.
and you can either see them or hear them. You can't do both.
Now we can see your screen and we can hear you, so we're good to go.
General fund projections for revenues, expenses, and fund balance available for appropriation as of the year-end audit. So looking at projected revenues, right now we're projecting revenues to exceed budget by approximately $777,000. The two areas of main focus there is with sales tax. Believe it or not, we're expecting sales tax to exceed budget by about $1 million. That's a 4.7% variance from budget. And we've talked about the outstanding performance we've seen with our sales tax several times throughout the fiscal year. Two areas that we have seen lag behind because of the pandemic has to do with rescue transport revenues, based on the timing of the billing, and then recreation and parks. Collectively, they're about $700,000, $750,000 there. That's on the negative side. The positive is they will rebound as we continue to move forward. On the expense side of things, we are looking about a $3.3 million variance from budget. About $2 million of that is coming in the form of personnel. Operating dollars, about $1 million, but that will a majority of that will be carried over into the new fiscal year. And just to look at personnel a little bit closer, that number is a net of $1.3 million in CARES funding through Pitt County government. If you take that into consideration and exclude that, the variance from budget would only be about $1.8 million moving forward. So the number one question here is, how does that impact our year-end projected fund balance based off of the 14% calculation? This is where the accounting kind of comes into play, but bear with me. We are expecting our expenses to exceed revenue by approximately $1.1 million. However, we had projected our expenses to exceed revenue by about $6.4 million due to fund balance appropriations. We are projecting fund balance to be appropriated and carrying forward into the new year of approximately $3.1 million. And that would be comprised of projected encumbrances at year end. Those are open purchase orders that are still open at June 30th. $750,000 that we'll be utilizing in fund balance just to balance next year's budget. That is slightly up from about $615,000 in the current year. And then projected carryover of about $1.5 million. That would include the MetroNet dollars we have set aside and a lot of the job grants appropriations that we continue to carry over from year to year. So projected fund balance appropriations about $3.1 million moving in to 2021-22. That would leave fund balance available for appropriation that's projected above the 14% calculation of approximately $2.2 million. Where is that pretty much coming from? The main contributors is the excess revenues above budget, approximately $777,000, which is, again, outstanding compared to what we were projecting at the beginning of the year. And then the one-time CARES funding that we received through Pitt County, about $1.3 million. Collectively, that makes up about $2 million, almost $2.1 million of that excess. The actual excess revenue will be based off of year-end revenues and expenses, and the change in the general fund accounts receivable. We will pay real close attention to those accounts receivable because every dollar in receivable is $1 that has to be restricted in fund balance at the year end. And it's also going to be based off of that final 14% budget calculation, fund balance calculation that will in part be based off of next year's budget and will be completed as part of the 2021 audit. So in summary, some good news. You know, the analysis that has been presented is a projection, and most certainly the actual will be different from what is projected here with 1 quarter left. Excess fund balance is projected to be around $2 million, of which the primary contributors to that is the revenue increase as compared to budget and the $1.3 million in stimulus funding through Pitt County. And just to note that the actual access will be dependent on the financial audit, the actual revenues and expenses, the change in receivables, and the 14% budget calculation. That gives us a good starting point moving into the budget conversation that we will have next month as we present the manager's budget for 2021-22.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Cowan?
I have one. Michael, can you go back to the job grant carry forward? This note.
Oh, okay. You want this one, the job?
Yeah, so could you walk through that again? You're saying that we are carrying forward money from previous budget periods because we
That's right. We budget approximately $100,000 a year for the jobs grants. And we actually have, and we've been doing that for 3 years now. And we actually have not utilized any of that funding. So we continue to carry it over year after year to build up a fund balance that's available for appropriation to help cover the outstanding grants that we do have. We have actually told certain employers that if they meet certain targets, we will provide them this incentive. They just haven't met the target yet, so we haven't had to provide the incentive. That's
right. You got the money salted away so that when they do, it's not going to belong to a future year. It'll be sitting there ready. Okay.
That's right. Very prudent financial planning. We have not only that $300,000, but we also have the $300,000 sitting on GUC side. So we approximately have a bank of about $600,000 set aside.
Good to know. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 16. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 16 is the budget and financial overview for the build grant. We'll start with civil engineer Lynn Rayner. I don't see Lynn on the screen. I'm going to guess he's on the screen. There's Lynn, and he'll talk you through some of the budget projections for the build grant, and then Mr. Cowan will follow up with the funding that will support that. Okay, Mr. Rayner.
All right, thank you, Madam Manager. So I'm going to share my screen here. So I have lovingly dubbed this Build Grant Update Part 2, since we anticipated completing this during the workshop this afternoon. Let's see, let me get to slideshow from the beginning. All right. So many of us heard the design plans update provided by Mr. Dan Robinson of Kimley Horn & Associates in the workshop this afternoon. Dan provided a very thorough overview of what's happening with our design plans on each of the build grant component projects. So as part of that process and review, the city staff had to, also look at the construction cost estimates that came along with the plans at the 60% stage. And what we quickly realized was that not only looking at the construction cost, but we needed to look at total project cost because there were quite a few other factors that are involved in making this happen besides just the construction contract that we bring to council for approval. Some of those items that are listed here on the screen, preliminary and final design, I won't go through each one. You can read these, but suffice to say there are a lot of variables that are associated with completing any project, but in particular a project the size of the build grant that we're undertaking. So what we needed to do was, looking at those total project costs, we needed to actually go and consider looking at some value engineering. How can we cut some of these costs and bring the overall cost of the project down? So we entered into a meeting with the city manager's office with representatives from Kimley Horn as well as engineering staff here with the city of Greenville. That meeting lasted several hours, quite frankly, and we went through each of those projects line item by line item saying, what can we cut and still provide quality projects for the citizens of Greenville. We identified 3 guiding principles that guided our decisions during that meeting. The first of those is we needed to meet the grant requirements. We needed to ensure that whatever we did would meet the grant application that was submitted and approved by U.S. Department of Transportation. And part of that requirement is we have to build all 7 of the component projects. Eliminating one of those was not an option. Number 2, we wanted to prioritize the improvements along 5th Street, recognizing the importance of the 5th Street corridor to the citizens of Greenville. We wanted to try to steer, the cost reductions away from the 5th Street corridor. And priority 3, we wanted to design for the future, realizing that some of the things we were going to have to cut would be desirable in the future. We were trying to set up the designs in such a way that whether it was through a future city capital project or whether in coordination with local organizations like Relief or Uptown, that the design that gets constructed would be able to be expanded upon in the future very easily. So with these priorities in mind, as I mentioned, we went through each of the 7 component projects and identified several areas where we could cut some costs. So what you see here on the screen are the results of that meeting that we had. These are just some of the bullet points, the areas that we decided that we did want to cut costs, but as with anything, we have a budget to maintain, and we needed to reduce those costs as much as possible. Reducing landscaping. You heard Mr. Dan Robinson go over several of these items during his presentation, so I won't necessarily reiterate those here. So that brings us to this screen. And what you see here before you is a before and after. So when we received the 60% designs originally, the number at the bottom of the screen, the $32+ million, is where we were as a total project cost for all 7 projects, including all of those factors that I indicated previously. After the meeting with the city manager's office and engineering department representatives of Kinley Horn, we were able to cut, as you can see here, a little over $4.5 million from the overall total project cost. And with that, I will turn it over to Assistant City Manager Michael Cowan to talk more about the financials.
Let me share my screen. So funding for the build grant really needs to be looked at in light of the capital projects, the major capital projects that we will be funding in fiscal year 2021-22, which is approximately $43 million worth of projects. Includes Fire Station 7 construction of approximately $6 million. We're nearing the completion of the design there. Already have the design and the award for construction of the extension of Fire Station 1 Bay, $625,000. We will probably be awarding the contract for construction of the pool next month. $4.5 million is what we've got a placeholder in our model there. The EPS improvements, we approved that construction contract tonight. And we have just begun the development of Wildwood Park design. And then we have the build grants that you heard Lynn just review at approximately $28 million. Luckily, we have all this within the funding models. We've got approximately $27.2 million set aside in general fund dollars, whether it be through cash or financing. And then we have other financing sources of approximately $16 million, of which the lion's share of that is the build grant, the federal build grant of $15 million. If we look at the general fund and the dollars set aside there, we had $2 million funded through the general fund and capital reserve. We had $2.5 million set aside in the transportation bond, which that issue was made last year. We had an additional cash of $2.3 million included in this year's budget and a small amount in next year's budget as well. And then the financing of approximately $20.3 million that's included in our long-range debt plan model. That financing will occur in 2 debt issuances. The first coming in this summer. Once we have majority of the construction contracts in place for the non-build projects, we will move forward with that. And then debt issue number 2 for the build grant would be projected next summer of approximately $6.7 million to bring us up to the total funding of $28 million. We have projected the financing terms within the model of anywhere an interest rate of between 3.5% and 4% for 20 years. And let me just say that is a very conservative rate. If we are able to go to market within the timeframes that I stated, we should receive significantly better financing terms than that. And that will just be fed into the models at that point in time. For budgeting purposes, I want to stay a little bit more conservative so as to not overextend the long-range capital plan model. That translates in about $1.8 million of recurring debt payments that needs to be built into the budget moving forward. And I'm proud to say that it is. We currently have, moving forward into next year's budget, a debt service expense budget within the general fund of approximately $6.3 million. And that is to cover the existing debt and then the debt for the 2 new issuances that have been projected that are highlighted there in red. In fact, if you look at the 10-year debt payment schedule, based off of the existing debt payments, principal and interest being funded through the general fund budget, as well as tacking on debt issuance number 1 and 2 that's projected in the next year, you see the total debt service expense, again, that's built into the general fund budget. And over a 10-year period, that debt service goes from approximately $6.2 million a year to $2.6 million. And that is, over the next 4 years, just a $2 million swing. And then if you take that forward another almost $2 million in the next 4 years, that is our long-range debt plan in action right there. It's really now starting to gel, so that on a 4-year transition, a schedule, we can be looking at major capital financing of projects to fit within our current budget model. And just a $2 million difference in budget will translate into financing of approximately $25 million based off of today's terms. So now is the time that we move forward with approximately $43 million worth of projects, but we can also go ahead and start thinking about what the next round of projects will be that we'll be scheduling in the next 4 years to be able to go out and start to fund those projects as well. So in summary, we have approximately $43 million for the projects funded starting in 2021-22's budget, a minimum of $16 million funded with non-city sources, $20.3 million financed within that model using very conservative financing terms. And again, it's already included in next year's budget moving forward. So with that, have any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Cowan? See none. Thank you very much, Mr. Cowan. Appreciate it.
Ask Lynn a question.
Sure.
You said there was a $100,000 reduction for. I'm sorry. You said there was a reduction in the pedestrian lighting on phase A and B, and looked like the delta on phase A was what, $100,000? Was that the change between the design at this place? What the pedestrian lighting, is that what the lighting along the greenway, was that the
that was the lighting we anticipated providing along the street right of way right now.
The street right of way.
Yes, sir. Right now, city policy doesn't allow greenways that are off street to be lit because they're still considered parks. So that
closed at dusk. Yeah.
Right. Yes, sir.
Okay, so that was just entirely reductions in lighting along streets. We can always go back and do that. Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the final item, review of the April 2021 City Council agenda. Madam Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The council will join me in doing a special recognition of Richard Gay, a Public Works employee who has retired. We'll do the public comment period. The council will consider appointments to boards and commissions.
Okay. The first board that we have is the Environmental Advisory Commission. Councilmember Meyerhofer. And I can come back to that. Next is the Human Relations Council.
Valerie, I'm trying to get connected. My iPad died. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to get connected here. Do you have the name of the appointee I emailed you? I can't pull it up because I'm on my phone right now.
I don't have it at the moment, but I can get that sent out to council if you'd like to appoint them.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll get that sent out.
I'll mute. Let me see if I can find the name. Thanks.
Dallas Clark. Thank you, Kim. Dallas Clark?
That's right.
Yep.
I'd like to appoint Dallas Clark. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'll go back to Human Relations Council, Mayor Pro Tem Glover.
Okay. Would you check with Cassandra, see if she has any openings?
Yep, I will.
Or people who have been up there that can be reappointed.
Okay, we'll do it.
Okay.
Right. Pitt Greenville Convention and Visitors Authority, Councilmember Meyerhofer.
Still continuing that one, please. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Recreation and Parks Commission. I will have to take a look at who. I'm sorry, I didn't have it listed. It's one of those that you have assigned appointments up there, and it looks like it's not noted. But I'm very sorry. I will have that for you this week. But there is one resignation up there. That's from Ms. Carrie Watson, but I'll get the assignment sent out. And then Youth Council, Mayor Pro Tem Glover.
Okay, I didn't. I guess you have to do the same thing with that one because I didn't get a call from Cassandra.
Okay, I will check with Cassandra for you. And Madam Manager, Mayor Connolly, that concludes the appointment.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The council will also hold public hearings on the following items. An ordinance to annex North Green Commercial Park involving 2.57 acres located along the southern right-of-way of Green Park Drive and 630 feet north of Staten House Road. Item 4 will be a public hearing to consider an ordinance requested by Third Wave Housing LLC to rezone 12.3 acres located at the located along Southwest Greenville Boulevard, adjacent to Summer Green Apartments, from RA20 to R6, which is residential high density. Item number 5 is an ordinance requested by the Planning and Development Services Department to amend Title 9, Chapter 4 of the City Code to make miscellaneous changes to the zoning ordinance. And item number 6 is a public hearing for the acceptance of a building reuse grant and a One North Carolina grant for HC Composites doing business as WorldCat. That is the agenda for the Thursday night, April the 8th council meeting, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the city manager's report.
Mayor, I just wanted to remind the City Council and the community that this is Community Development Week, National Community Development Week. We have a number of activities related to community development. They can be found on our website. They include COVID recovery programs for renters and small businesses, contractor workshops, healthy home seminars, home ownership counseling seminars. So we're excited about it, and we would encourage the public to engage via the city's website under the housing tab. That's my report, Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Move on to comments from the mayor and the city council. How about we start with Councilmember Meyerhofer?
No comment. Apologize for the dog barking and all that extra action I had going on. Thanks.
All right, Councilmember Litchfield.
No comment. Councilmember Litchfield.
All right. Councilmember Smiley.
I have no comments, Mayor.
All right, Councilmember Bell.
I have no comments, Mayor.
Councilmember Daniels.
Just want to thank everyone, city staff. We have a lot going on in the city right now that's positive, and everyone has been working very hard, and it has not gone unnoticed. So thank you. And also to recap what Madam Manager stated, there's a lot going on. Visit our website, our Facebook page, and get involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Glover.
I don't have anything, Mayor.
All right.
Wait a minute.
Thank you very much. I want to just wish everybody a happy Easter. I hope everybody had a good day yesterday. I hope you had a special day celebrating the day. And also just say, go Pirates. Our Pirates continue to win. They had a 4-game series win, or four games series that they swept Cincinnati this last weekend, which was incredible. So it's great to continue to see them doing really well. Thank you to our city staff for the good news about the $2 million projection for excess fund balance at the end of the year. You guys have done an incredible job navigating through this very difficult time when there's a lot of uncertainty with what's happened with COVID and a lot of the loss of commerce in our area. So good job with that. And then finally, I'd like to thank Councilmember Meyerhofer for the tour of your house at the end of the meeting. maybe at the end of this, we can do the full tour. You can show us all the rooms and just kind of navigate us through your house. So with that is it. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn from my living room.
We're going to adjourn to his kitchen.
I'll take that as a motion from Councilmember Meyerhofer and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Glover. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. I'll call on the city clerk for the vote.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Glover? Aye. Councilmember Daniels?
Aye.
Councilmember Bell?
Aye.
Councilmember Smiley?
Aye.
Councilmember Litchfield?
Councilmember Litchfield, aye.
Councilmember Meyerhofer?
Aye.
Motion passes, Mayor Connolly, 6-0.
Thank you very much. Hope everybody has a good evening, and we'll see you on Thursday night at 6 p.m.
Good night.
Aye.
Good night.